أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We thank and praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of all the nations, the creator of the universe. We seek refuge in Him and also we seek guidance in Him. May the salutation, peace and blessings of Allah be upon the Prophet and his household and all those who follow him until the end of time. We are in a time when the world is all taken up with this financial crisis, where everybody is being stressed out or they are busy talking about the financial situation around. As matter of believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided us to look at this matter in different ways. Islam has provided solutions and also has provided guidance in how we can look at all these scenarios. First of all, we need to realize to say that all these matters of finances are in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before we go to these assumptions that we are all taken up. This mindset that has taken up the people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has defined it in the Quran in the Surah A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه وأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن. And he continues also to say وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن. And then Allah goes to answer also tonight in that statement to say by Kalla. What these two ayahs means, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says when a person is being honored and then his sustenance has been made easier on him, he goes to say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored me. And then the other one also on the opposite side who has financial challenges, whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has trained his sustenance, is facing a bit of hardship, he goes to say Allah has done what? Has forsaken me. But Allah denies this statement, both statements, to say Kalla, and it's not as they are thinking. This is just the mindset that the people are taking themselves, but in actual sense, what is in reality is that the both parties are in the test. All the matters in this dunya are a test. This world is a matter of test where we are to succeed. So the one who have simplicity or easiness in the sustenance and matters of his wealth is in the test of what? Ghina. Allah is testing him in matters of gratitude to see how he's going to be gratitude. And through gratitude, he'll be able to utilize that sustenance in a proper manner. And the other one whose matters have been strained a bit, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing him with what? He's testing him with his poverty, his matters of being content with his position. So as for this, we find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided the guidance on how we need to undertake these positions. And remember one thing, that our statuses are never permanent. There is a time when we are on the upper hand, and there's a time when we'll be on the lower side. And we'll come back maybe on the upper hand, or like that. This is the way we continue living our life until we depart this world. Because these all positions are given to us as a test. So the first thing that we need to look at is to redirect ourselves to the position of a believer. When we look at ourselves as believers, then we'll be able to comprehend these matters in a simpler way. And it will be easier for us to understand. This is why we find the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he defines matters of the believer connecting to this when he says, "Ajaban li amr al-mu'min," that how strange is the life of a believer. Yani in al-amrahu kullahu khayr. Yani all his matters are what? Okay, are very good for him. They are good for him. He has no time to complain. Okay, when he is tested with something in surplus, what does he do? Shakara, and he thanks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. And when he is trained a bit with anything in his life, what does he do? He becomes sabr. He applies sabr, patience. So the one who is given is tested with ghina, which he is supposed to make shukr to Allah, and then the one who's been denied is tested with, he's supposed to apply patience. Okay, he's supposed to apply patience for his test of faqr, of poverty or hardship. So these are the two angles on how we need to look at these matters. when we put ourselves as a believer, then it will be easier for us to understand and comprehend these matters, to say, no, everything is good for us, that we are believers, and there's nothing that we can take down. And the second is where we need to understand in our mindset to say, all these things are coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When He mentions in the Quran to say, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. Okay. The ayahs are so many. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ اذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ هَلْ مِنْ خَالِقٍ غَيْرُ اللَّهِ يَرْزُقُكُمْ. He's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, all you people, can you remember the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent upon you? And do you have any creator other than Allah who is actually sustaining you? So there are so many ayahs that we find in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is affirming where this sustenance or simplicity of this in life is coming from. So once we affirm to say this is from Allah, then we should be content by the end of the day to say all is in Allah's hands, and what Allah ordains upon me is always good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in Allah la yazlimu nasa shay'a. Allah does not oppress anybody. There's no oppression from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everything that comes from Allah is all good for us. The third matter, it is to apply tawakkul with taqwa together. We apply taqwa, fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in what He has guided us into, what He has forbade us from doing, and also applying tawakkul. Also, as He mentions in the Quran, that وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. That whosoever will have piety, meaning consciousness in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open the doors of fertility for him, and also whosoever who has tawakkul in Allah, Allah will sustain him in the doors that he is not expecting. So this might be also in the doors that you're expecting, and also the doors that you may not expecting. I'll give you a small example. In where, for example, we are to do a certain job or maybe a business transaction, and then we are depending on that payment. We even start making a budget towards it. But then after completing that work, then we don't get to be paid, and then the other party goes to plead maybe for a payment to be done later on. We can't fight them, of course, but then this is how Allah does things. He postponed that payment for the future, for what may be coming ahead of us, and He is all-knower. He knows what is coming ahead of us. So in that matter, we apply tawakkul. We have to be content, and also keep on doing what? Keep on referring back to Him. And the last part is whereby we have to apply now the du'as, where we have to seek intervention to Allah through du'as. There are certain times when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just wants us to ask, not automatically giving us. So when you look at in the du'as of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we find the first concept, he would seek for refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where he would seek for protection from faqr and also from ghina. He would seek protection from poverty and also from ghina also. So he would keep asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-faqri wa a'udhu bika min al-ghina. This is what we find in his du'as. So it is very necessary for Muslims also to apply all these points, and also lastly also to make an effort to go out there, not to sit and say no because it's in Allah's hands that I'll sit, but go out there, make an effort. As Prophet mentions, he gives an example of a bird which leaves its nest to go, it goes out hungry and comes back satisfied. What's the effort there? The bird has to go out of its nest. So equally us as well, we'll have to make an effort by going out and look for halal sustenance. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the ability to apply what He has guided us into, and to grant us protection also from being misguided. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.